Okay, so I'm going against my grain and I am making two videos in one day. I might regret this. Um, I just wanted to touch base on the filing system. I left off my last video kind of a little bit weird, and I just didn't want to do that. So I didn't want to leave anybody hanging with anything. I know that when you are out there and you're in the midst of child custody, it's just, especially when you're pro se, it's just such a frustrating experience. And all of a sudden, when you're done with it, you have an associate's in psychology, an associate's in law, an associate's probably in criminal defense, and hopefully a billion more resources for yourself. So I wanted to go over my filing system. I will use a very brief version. The reason being is that I still have a child who's under the age of 18. I don't want to disclose anything that I shouldn't be disclosing. So, and that's really just, empowered, that's your business. One thing that I have a go-to for is any sort of miscellaneous documentation I may or may not use. I may use down the road. I may not need it all, but I don't want to lose it because technology sucks. You drop your phone, you lose your computer, something breaks, stolen out of a car, stuff like that. I have like a miscellaneous, non-labeled slacker version of a go-to binder, and in this one, like I said, I just put everything that I might need or just stuff that I don't want to lose. Needing it really isn't a necessity for that binder. It just, if it's anything that I feel like would behoove me to have rather than not have and need, boop, goes right in that binder. The other thing that I want to show is, I'll pull up an old one. So my binders look a little thin. I've only been going through the situation for a few years now. Only been a few years. I have my original, my OG binder, my dissolution, my OG court order, everything. Anything that I used in that hearing for that year, which this is 2020. So this is my 2020 binder. Anything that I had, and like mine took place in the tail end of that year. So anything that I had needed throughout that time frame, which is also why it's pretty thin, goes in here. I organize all my binders by the year. On top of the year, I have separate filing sections, and I'll show you that in a more organized binder because that one's old and kind of decrepit. I don't do much to it. So this one is 2021 to 2022. Reason being is because I was still in 2021, I was still getting situated with what kind of filing system I wanted to use. At first, I was doing it all. I was emailing it to myself. I was printing it and not keeping it, losing it in my car, all kinds of crazy stuff. And then once I kind of figured out what filing system I wanted to use, I got organized. I had enough to fit into one binder, so I just used it for the one binder. So 2021, 2022. And then in order to keep things sort of limited, I organized mine by month. So they have these like, it's so bright in here. They have these like numbered tabs. December is on the front for me because that's the most recent. I go by recent. So I start at January, and then as the book goes on, it should end at December. And then I keep everything for, as it stands right now, I keep everything that happens in that month. So that way, if I know the month and the year of whatever is being referenced, I can pull it up really quick and just see, oh yeah, it's right there. And then these ones are a little bit trickier to disclose because they are private. Okay, so I'll use this one. So at the forefront of every month's section, I have a calendar, and I keep quick notes on those days. So if I felt like I needed, let's say I got, a visitation is a good example. So let's say such and such minutes of a phone call took place. I jot that down in the day of the correct month in the correct year. And it just kind of helps me keep track of like, okay, at the end of the month, I can look back at it and say, oh, this month was was this weekend, and this month was this weekend, or, such and such. It's a quick reference. And that way, if anything else gets, I don't want to say missed, but like if something gets brought up and I can say, oh, well, this day was this day for you and nothing happened there. It was, either a visit was completed or no showed, stuff like that. So I just keep all those calendars nice and shining new. This binder will be just 2023, which is super, super soothing. But yeah, like I said, you'll have, your information, and I don't want to hold too much up in front of my camera because it's kind of private business, but you can just print things out as it comes, file it away in the appropriate. Oh, and then this includes, so if you have like childcare billing statements, file that in there. If you have missed visits, no-showed visits, something was of financial importance. So if the child who is involved went to, let's say, the ER, and you want, number one, those medical documents as well filed. But number two, if you want to also show, oh, I have this copay, then you can just, make a quick reference. I recommend this model, this filing model for like if you're not actively going through court, I shouldn't say that. I recommend this model if you are not in a courtroom. That's what I recommend. If you go and you have a hearing, I recommend doing what I did, which was court, month and year, and then court. And the reason that I wrote court was because it triggered my brain to think, oh, this is my hearing binder. So, and like I just said in the last video, actually, in your court binder, you should have all of your documentation ready for those factors that judges evaluate by. So the age, the mental, medical health needs, who has the better relationship, how can we substantiate that better relationship. Separate, should be about, no more than 4 or 5 tabs in a binder, and then all of your evidence should be filed correctly under that binder. And it's the same thing. So if you're filing pro se online, there's an option. In most states, there's options to do it online. I shouldn't say states. In most counties, there's options to do it online. So if you file everything online, that's great, but you want to make sure that it's organized in such a fashion. So when you go to file your motion, you're going to want to file your exhibits, generally speaking. Exhibit A, referencing medical needs and all the medical appointments, especially with your name being the parent escort who took the parent or patient to the appointment, all that good stuff sort of factored appropriately. And that's gonna help your case. So that's my filing system. It's pretty simple, really, really simple. Just got the miscellaneous, and then label everything by year, and then make sure that you keep all your hearing binders. Don't just trash them when you're done with your hearing. Sometimes things go amiss in one hearing and you can catch it in another hearing. So you got this. Filing pro se, one step at a time. Find the best organizational method that suits your needs. That's what I would say. That happened to be mine, organizing by year, month, furthering it by having a calendar, monthly calendar in the beginning of every month slot. That helped me also narrow things down, navigate for things. If I needed to pull stuff for court real quick, didn't have it in my hearing binder, I had those, so I could pull it really quick. You got this. Best of luck.